Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is cool to do another one. I did this yesterday and it was quite cool to have, I think, about like 47 to 49 people at one point live this um, on this interesting experiment that I have going. So if this is the first time you're joining, this is a an experiment that I decided to do and play with AI live. Today, I've got a really cool show coming up, and I'm going to show you what we have today in store. So today, what we're going to do is we are going to use Claude 3. And yesterday, what happened was when I tried to show you how to use ChatGPT and how that works, and a personalized ways to do that, ChatGPT was just not loading. So maybe if we get a chance today, we can go through that. But if we don't, I definitely want to show you Claude and why Claude is so important and so powerful. All right. The main tactic today that we're going to do is, if you missed yesterday's live, we on the live we used AI to come up with our business goals, and which is something that takes a lot of time, a lot of brain effort, and a lot of brain space. So what's the point in having those goals and what to do regularly? So what we did was we did a SWOT analysis. This is yesterday's. We did a SWOT analysis, and then using the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, we did our OKRs, which is objectives and key results. And then we finished yesterday's live, or the live tactic, talking about once you have your OKRs, what are your regular recurring reps? What are the things you got to do weekly, monthly, daily, regularly, so that you achieve your goals? So once you have those, the goals without measurement and regular monitoring and control is not adaptable. So today we're going to talk about how your goals plus your vital signs, what are the vital metrics that you got to measure regularly to make sure that you have a healthy business. We're going to talk about how we can, and we're going to do all this using AI. And I'm also going to show you normally how long something like this would take, and how it is so much easier to do it with artificial intelligence. We're going to pick our vital signs for our business, and hopefully you can model what I'm doing and do it for yourself. We're going to take our objectives and key results and then sort of translate them to the goals of what our vital signs should be. So what are the goals that we're trying to hit regularly? And then how do we interact with these goals? How do we make sure that we can achieve them and we can have this conversation with them? I'm going to talk about some really interesting news. PwC released their AI findings for 2024. It talks about some really interesting things, and I think you should know about it as a business owner, business leader. They talk about right AI choices, the trust in AI and how much that is improving, and generative AI and why it is important, which is like the big piece of everything. I'm going to talk about this really cool episode that I did. So go check out Amplify AI for all, even if you wanted a recording of this episode. We're going to do an edited version of this, and you'll find that on Amplify AI. You'll find that on all your podcast platforms, whether it's YouTube or Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. But today we're going to learn this really cool technique. It's called the chain of thought prompting, and it's a very simple technique, but a very powerful technique to use in prompting. So we've got a really interesting show coming up. If you're watching live or you're watching the replay, just let me know where you're tuning in from. If you are watching the replay, just mention replay, because I'm really interested to know, because this is going to a whole bunch of different places, including Twitter and LinkedIn. So use the comments, and I would love to be able to interact with you if you're here live. But what I would love to start doing is talk about this PwC's findings. So let's get into the news. This is a really interesting study done by PwC. It's the 2024 AI business predictions. Now, for every business out here, it's really interesting to watch how this is put into play, because a lot of us that are in business forget these simple things. Now, this is PwC. It's kind of created this long article about the predictions of AI in business for 2024. It must get a lot of clicks. Don't worry about the highlighting, that's me. But if you go down the bottom, all the way down here, you notice this. What can generative AI do for you? And this is a get in touch with PWC button. So this is literally their content marketing that's working for them. However, there's research that's gone into doing this article. So I think it's important to kind of just go through and see why this is really important. So they have done research. Now, again, some of this research can be tainted in the way they've collected data. So keep all of that in mind. But nevertheless, just looking around, you know that some of this stuff that I'm going to say is very true when you look around how much the adoption of artificial intelligence has become a thing. So 73% of US companies have already adopted AI in some way or the other, and generative AI is obviously leading the way, which is a huge thing. And 1 year after ChatGPT, there's over half of the companies that are saying, at least publicly, that they're using AI. So there are these 6 different business predictions, and let's go through them one at a time. The first one is the right AI choices will provide companies a significant edge. So the key words here are right AI choices. It is really important that when you're using artificial intelligence, you're using the right AI for the right task. And, this is very similar to when Facebook first came out. And it was like one of the first social media platforms that got a lot of attention, even though there was like MySpace and other ones before that. Facebook was really the first one, and every time someone was able to get a client or a customer through Facebook, they called themselves a social media expert. And there were lots of social media experts going out there. So now what's happening with ChatGPT, because it's so easily available, and that's what most people are using, everyone's thinking that AI is just ChatGPT. And I kind of want to, break that idea that that's what it is. So it's really important to have the right AI choices when it comes to what you're doing for your business specifically, to actually use it to take advantage of its capacity. Because here's what's really important. The key is to avoid the use case trap. If you use Gen AI only in isolated instances, you'll get only limited value. Instead, prioritize patterns that can scale. What that means is use AI inside your workflows. So your existing workflows, whatever is working for you right now, use that, and then use AI to bolster that. So Gen AI's capacity to draw insights from unstructured data can help nearly every knowledge worker grow capacity and make better decisions. And another thing here is really important to understand is when you think about IQ, right? When we judge IQ of humans and we do an IQ test and we say this person has a higher IQ, what we're saying is that this person has a higher working memory. So this person can remember a lot of more stuff when they can interact with the world. And that's no different to artificial intelligence. So not using AI to draw these insights, because it definitely has a higher working capacity than we do, and using it to draw these instances and these ideas from unstructured data is really powerful, and we should all be using it. So I'll put a link to this article if you want, but it's up here. It's PWC, and if you just look for it, and it'll tell you like, okay, if these are the things that you're focused on, and you really want to do this particular prediction, these are the next 3 things to do. So definitely put people first, and setting priorities. This is like just super important. The second one, I want to go through this because I definitely want to get into the tactic quicker. So number 2, Gen AI will redefine the work of leaders as much as employees. And again, if you didn't know, I just submitted the first draft of my manuscript, a book called Amplify AI, Integrating Intelligence, Preserving Identity. And it's for business leaders, because I think business leaders need to start augmenting their human intelligence with artificial intelligence to actually have a bigger impact. But AI will start to change how almost everyone, especially those at the highest levels, do their jobs. And yesterday was a great example of showing you how you can interact with business goals and create them, identify, set, and execute them in real time. And today's tactic about doing business vital signs is also a very leader-focused tactic. And that's why it's really important to understand that it is a very leader-focused skill. Middle managers will need skills to oversee and assess teams in which AI agents do much of the work. This is very similar to how we went virtual overnight, and we were forced to then start to manage local teams and virtual teams and hybrid teams altogether. Functional leads will have to understand how AI can not just augment processes but replace them. The C-suite will have to take action on AI native operations and business models. Now, again, I want to put this in context. This is PWC who is selling this kind of stuff, so it is in their interest to kind of put this out there, but it is also done from research that they have gathered. So number 3, the moment of truth for trust in AI is coming. So trust in AI will be critical. The more people that trust it, there's a lot of people saying that they don't trust artificial intelligence. What that means right now, that more people are trusting it, but it means that it'll be more compliant, it'll be more secure, and more people will be worrying about what kind of output it really produces. So many Gen AI vendors now offer to indemnify customers for potential copyright infringements, including ChatGPT and OpenAI. If you use their enterprise and their pro versions, if you have any issues, they will step in for you. So they're backing their data that much, or they're backing their AI that much. Number 4, Gen AI will be the missing link for data. What it can do right now is really valuable. It can scan, read, summarize, translate, analyze, troubleshoot, even highly structured data that's trapped in presentations, strategy papers, customer logs, and the countless other documents that define your organization. You got to understand where this can be used. So if you're not using right now generative AI, I suggest you really, really look into it quicker. 5, obviously, Gen AI will transform transformation, which is interesting, right? So most businesses are in business to create transformation, and generative AI will transform how that transformation is done. So look at how it is possible, and when you look at this article, it shows you different ways in finance, tax, legal, and IT. Ways that generative AI can actually help within these different industries. And finally, I want to wrap this up. Gen AI will give rise to new classes of products and services, obviously, because it's already given rise to new types of teams where AI agents are part of the team that you have not only human teams, but you have AI teams. So all this no-code stuff is becoming more and more common, and I definitely would suggest you go and check these predictions out because it's super valuable. All right, enough of the news. Let's get into this. Let's get into doing the vital signs. So today's tactic is all about interpreting business vital signs. Now, I want to get into this really quickly. Again, if you have any questions, using the comments, I'm sure there's a way that I can see comments. Not that it's coming up on my screen right now, but probably. So if you send something, hopefully it'll come up. Just let me know where you're tuning in from, because there's obviously people here on live. So today's tactic is all about interpreting business vital signs using artificial intelligence. So yesterday we did getting your business goals. What we got from your business goals was a set of objectives and key results. What was the objective and what are the key results? And the reason for having this particular tactic today is, okay, you might have a goal and you might know what you're going to do regularly, but what metrics do you measure in your business to know whether it's working well, and what are the vital signs of that business, right? So this is what I mean by vital signs. What do you test and measure to know that your business is healthy? And the idea here is that we want you to have a good set of business goals, but also a project plan. And we don't want you to not know what to measure. We want you to know what to measure and what vital signs to create. So I have this really interesting chat that I created about vital signs, so that it kind of gives you an idea of how I would think of business vital signs. Now, this section here that's in these little quotes is from my book, and I've just pasted it here to kind of highlight that this is how I want you to think about interpreting business vital signs. Just giving it context that I believe there are 8 important vital signs: is team, listeners, leads, appointments, engagement, sales, partnerships, and profit. Okay, I'm saying this is what I believe. What are the minimalist and simplest vital signs to measure based on a set of OKRs? Think this through step by step and give me your reasoning, please. Now, this last line is really important because this last line is prompting the artificial intelligence to not immediately do the task. It's prompting the artificial intelligence to first think of the task as a project first, and then think of it logically, break it down, and then perform the steps one at a time. And that is what is called chain of thought prompting. I mentioned this technique, chain of thought prompting. So chain of thought prompting is kind of getting the AI to think of your job as a whole process or whole project first, and then ideate it as a project, and then break it down into tasks, and then execute each task one at a time. So that is a really good prompting skill to learn. So it did that, and then it gave me a really cool breakdown. It said, okay, first align the vital stats with OKRs, which is what we're going to do. And then it simplified my 8 and said, just worry about these 4. Worry about engagement rate, like how many listeners, leads, and engagements you're getting regularly. Then worry about the conversion rate, how many appointments to sales. So who is coming into an appointment and how many people are converting to sales. In that way, I suppose you measure both, appointments and sales, and what partnership effectiveness, like how many partnerships you're having and what's your profit margin. So, and then it says, okay, this is how you do it. This is the integration. This is the stuff. Then I'm saying, okay, well, how can we use AI to automate the collection and analysis of these simplified vital signs that you're suggesting? What specific tools that can we use? All right, so then it talks about natural language, predictive analysis. It kind of goes into a lot of theoretical stuff, which is not actually what I'm after. So I kind of abandoned that, and I went down a different path here, and I said, well, typically, how long does it take a small business to do an annual interpret vital signs project with regular measuring, documenting, and monitoring the project for the year? And then what I did was I actually put the steps. So this is again from my book. If you're going to interpret vital signs, these are the 3 steps you got to do, and within each of them there are 3 sub steps. Pick the vital signs, take your OKRs and convert them into the goals that you have for each of the signs, and then how to converse with your thing. So I've kind of written that, and I'm saying, how long would it take? So, and again, I'm asking it to think this through in a methodical manner. And what it's done is it's first said, okay, pick the signs, this is how long it would take. Then OKR to goals, this is how long it would take. This is in a typical world without necessarily having AI to benefit you. So it's saying initial planning 8 to 12 weeks, 8 to 13 weeks. So it's a lot of time, right? And it's a lot of time to do this. And what if we could do this quicker, right? So let's play here. And what I want to use is Claude.ai. If you don't know what this is, it's a really, really powerful artificial intelligence. This is Claude 3 that is being used. I have upgraded my account, so I'm subscribed to Pro. And let me tell you the advantage of Claude 3, because I think that's important. There are 2 main numbers when it comes to artificial intelligence that are really, really important. The first number is the size of the training data that our AI is trained on. So how much of data goes into training a particular model. Now you'll hear this a lot. It's a 7 billion parameter model. It's a 3 billion parameter model. Some say ChatGPT is a 1 trillion parameter model. We don't have that confirmed or any way to confirm that yet. Look out for my live that I'm going to do about how open is OpenAI, because again, there's a lot of things about OpenAI that are quite shut. And yesterday I talked about Elon Musk suing OpenAI, but separate case, Claude, the two main numbers is the size, the parameter size of the training data that it's trained on. And the second is the token size for each interaction, or actually with the interaction, the token size of what each model remembers. Okay, so for example, GPT-4 on your chat GPT remembers about 8,000 tokens, which is roughly about 6,000 words or characters. Sorry, 6,000 characters, not words. It's a big difference. And then, however, Claude 3 has 200,000 characters, tokens, which allows it to remember a lot of data of context before it executes something. So it remembers a lot of stuff. Now, sometimes when you're using ChatGPT, you're talking to it, and after a while, some of the responses get generic. And the reason for that is it's gone past its token limit, and it starts forgetting things that are past its token limit. So if it only remembers 6,000 characters, for example, and you're starting to ask it questions about information you've given it, 7,000 characters ago, it has forgotten that. And that's why it starts to return generic responses. So Claude 3 is very powerful in the sense that it allows you to interact with a lot more data. So if I put this to one side and I go with my notes here, because I thought, this would be really stupid to do without preparation. Yesterday, when we finished our session, we came up with some objectives and key results. This is I give an example of me wanting to fill up this coaching program with 100 business owners, and I'm starting at 13 right now, and by the end of the year I want 100. So it gave me the I gave it the objective, it gave me the key results, and we already had that from yesterday. So I'm going to show you what the prompt would look like, and I pre-prepared this prompt because yesterday I did a lot of the prompts on the fly, and I think I could have done a better job with the prompts, and I'll show you what this means here in a second. What I'm saying is I will give you a set of OKRs. I would like you to help me with vital signs, metrics we need to measure weekly to keep us in alignment with our OKRs. I want you to read through the OKRs, then consider the objective and determine what vital signs are best to measure regularly. Make a list of 10 and then pick the best 4 or 5. Think this through step by step and give me a reasoning, please. Here are the OKRs. So I'm just going to put the OKRs from yesterday, which is here. Actually, goes on the top. Objectives, key results. Okay, so I just want to remind you, because in the start of this live, I said that I would teach you this chain of thought prompting, and this technique is very, very prevalent in this prompt that I've used over here, which is, I'm breaking down the project into steps, and then I'm saying, think this through step by step and give me a reasoning. So I've taken this whole big project and I've kind of broken it down, and I've given it instructions on how I want it to perform this task that I'm asking of it. So if you look at the prompt, it's quite elaborate and it's got a lot of context. And again, the good thing about Claude is it remembers a lot of stuff. So it will come in handy. So what it's saying here right now is, okay, it's executing this. It's like, okay, the main objective is to get 100 business owners and leaders in the next year, especially if they have an online presence. And it's going, okay, well, what are the vital signs? Well, there's a whole bunch of different ones that it suggested: new participants, number of leads, new partnerships, new participants, website traffic. And then it's gone, okay, well, I'm picking the best 4 or 5, which is here, a number of participants joining each week, which is a very important one, obviously. Number of leads generated from the podcast per week, because I did tell it in my OKRs, it knows that I have a podcast for this. The conversion rate, so it's assuming that I convert at 2% of my email list. The number of participants generated from partnerships each week, and see how quickly that happened, right? That happened we yesterday really quickly we did objectives and key results, and then we figured out what were our regular recurring reps. So if we had these objectives and key results, what were the tasks we had to do regularly, weekly, monthly, daily. And so you now know what you're going to do on a regular basis to achieve your goals. And now today, based on this, you also know what you have to do to measure, like what kind of measurements do you have to go through regularly to make sure that you're keeping in alignment with your goals. So another thing that can be done, which just came to that could be possible in this, is what is can you help me with my monthly goals for these 5 vital signs? With my monthly goals for these 5 vital signs, please output this in a table format. Oops. Now this is a very generic prompt, and I'd prefer if I had a little more time to think about it. So can you help me with my monthly goals for these 5 vital signs you suggested above? Please output this in a table format. Give me the month, the target, the min target for the month, for all 5 vital signs. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the idea here is that you are actually conversing with this, right? So what it's doing is really fascinating. Now see, for this particular task, Claude is actually not the best model. I'll tell you why. What I'm asking of it here is a mathematical task. And all large language models are not good with mathematics because it is a generative pre-trained transformer, and it's all text-based. It is based on text. It's not good with math. And if we did this, for example, in ChatGPT, the same thing, what it'll do is it'll write a program. So let's try that really quickly before I wind this up. So let me copy this, the first prompt we did, and then go to ChatGPT and say, oh, that's not it. Say chat, new chat, and let's do that. Okay. So while it's doing that, I want to copy the next prompt, which we did, which was, can you help me with my monthly goals? And I hope it does what I expected to do, which is actually write Python code to do that math, and then return a sensible sort of. So interesting, right? It gave me different. Well, it gave me kind of similar, but the last 5th one is it's a different metric. So I'm just going to say, okay, let's see if it does it. It hasn't. So the idea here is that it actually is not doing this math correctly, and I can tell you that for a fact, because it's making a lot of guesses. It's making a few guesses, and it's not doing this correctly. The idea should be that it actually writes some code. So what I will do here is I will say, do all the math using Python to get the numbers correct. Let's see if that works. Yes, that's way better. So what it's meant to do is do the math using programming, which is amazing at doing math. and rather than using artificial intelligence to do it. So the artificial intelligence is invoking a program. It's writing the program, as you can see, really powerfully, by the way, as a computer scientist who can actually program in 21 different languages. That was a really good code. Obviously, it's written by a machine. So now this is a way better estimate than what happened before, because the calculations were done using this method as opposed to just some random numbers that it suggested before. While we're on this topic of looking at things, I would highly suggest that you check a previous episode that I've done with Jerry Simpson on how to plug your business data into AI to make better business decisions. It's a really cool episode. It's number 18 on Amplify AI. You can find that wherever you get your podcast episodes. And again, another episode today that kind of flew by. It's already 31 minutes. And I hope you join me tomorrow, because I'm going to do these regularly. So the plan is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And tomorrow we're going to talk about streamlining product sales. So how to do the whole product sales bit really quickly using artificial intelligence. I hope you join me. If you're watching the replay, let me know. Check out the website, aigeeks.site. We've had a malware attack. So our links are not working properly, but hopefully the website should be up and you should be able to get access to things that are there for free. But definitely check out the podcast, Amplify AI. In the meantime, love what you do what you love, and I'll catch you on the next